ESPN 1240 and online at WVBW.com. Ryan and Christian here. Welcome on, James, from the 360 Sports Network. What's up?
How's it going, gentlemen?
Oh, you tell us, my friend. Welcome to the PizzaAirCrust.com phone line. Sounds good, doesn't it?
Sounds awesome. I'd love some pizza right now.
Yeah, you know what? I think we'd love some, too. I thought they were going to drop that off. Aren't they supposed to feed us?
Are they?
Am I making that up? Sure would be nice. It's just, how great would that be right now?
They just brought pizza.
Oh, just dropped off some pizza and wings.
For that flux of time we have to pass for bowling.
Oh, my God, it'd be fantastic. Fantastic.
Let me know what time they're coming. I'll be there.
Well, we're trying to talk them into it right now, so we'll let you know. I just want to point out that now that I'm eliminated from the playoffs, this will be the third week in a row I could possibly win, James. I want you to know that.
Of course. It's just the way it always works. It's team that's good, too late. Yeah. Too little, too late.
Yeah. Last week I won 7-2, and I'm only one game behind Precious Chev. I could pass him up and finish 5th overall. I will not be in the playoffs. But to know that I sat at 7th and couldn't even move, in the last 3 weeks of the season, my team starts playing well. It's to say it's annoying would be an understatement, but I guess I have to thank my guys for playing hard. I got to thank the Rajon Rondo. Joe Johnson's game has picked up Durant. I will say you told me to pick up Biyombo. That helped out a lot with my blocks throughout the year.
One more stat category, and hey, you know what? Maybe it's not in the cards this year, but you now have another year of experience under your belt. I know it's frustrating, but that's the way it works. Especially
enjoy the Cleveland Brown approach.
No, you know, I did learn that the superstars are fun, but I realize you really do have to look at stats like assists and blocks and free throw percentage, like stuff you don't think. I didn't think in my first NBA fantasy draft that you do have to take into account. It's not really all about always the name player, after the first couple, of course.
Oh, yeah, the first couple, because they are the all-around player who put up the 30 points, but also will get you close to 10 rebounds, 10 assists, good field goal percentage, free throw percentage, all that. It's about an all-around player. I would take a team full of someone like Ramon Sessions, actually, right now, because he's someone who's still averaging double-digit points, but is getting half dozen to double digits in both assists and rebounds every game. And that's the type of players you need to fill your team with.
Teams right now, not me, but teams right now are getting ready for that playoff run. They're ready to go next week. I believe in our league, I believe the playoffs do start. If you're sitting there and you're looking maybe to tweak that roster, maybe add that one more guy, maybe is there someone sitting out there that could be a late season addition that could maybe help you out come playoff time?
There are a couple out there I'd like to look at. The issue you have to look at now with the games winding down, when you get to a big playoff matchup, if someone's listed as day-to-day, you immediately want to get him on your bench if you have too many of them, or he's someone you can spare to get rid of. You want to do it immediately. You can't afford any days off at any point, especially in the playoff time. One guy you can look to pick up because of his consistency would be Gordon Hayward, the Butler man, playing out there in Utah. A couple of his last 3 games, I should say, over 15 points each game, over 7 rebounds each game, averaging 6 assists per game. Someone who will get you every category, not to mention 2 or 3 steals, 2 or 3 blocks in each of those games. So someone like that is perfect for, especially when you need an all-around team, an all-around player to hopefully solidify every stat category, not just 1 or 2.
Is there anybody sitting out there as far as if maybe for the playoff run someone's looking for a little extra help for blocks and rebounds? Is there anybody out there at this point?
Biyombo is definitely, or he's still surprisingly, I mean, how many times do I have to say his name before everybody would come and pick him up, obviously? It's really a tough category because beyond those first few, like we've said before, there's just not as much depth in there. Beyond that, James Johnson still available in about 70% of leagues. He is one of the top rebounders out there. Udo from Milwaukee, I was high on him a couple weeks ago, but not as much, but he's still one of your top block getters. So if you need just blocks to be solidified, he'd be someone to go to. But beyond that, anybody else who's going to solidify both of those categories on a consistent basis is really going to be a tough call at this point. Maybe someone like Amir Johnson, who's coming back off of a couple games now. He's still someone you might want to consider. Really not much. Biyombo, Udo, Jones would be the 3 I'd go.
What about, is there anyone who you're watching their stock kind of fall as we get close to the playoffs? And if he's on your team, you might want to be weary about starting him when it's a must-win.
in a must-win, you know what Jess is going to say. I said to trade Jeremy Lin, I hope you were able to. I mean, his stock hasn't fallen so much that I'd get rid of him, but he's had some down games. Now he's battling an injury. The Knicks just aren't doing as well. He's someone that I definitely wouldn't get rid of at this point, but he's someone to watch out. Evan Turner has really disappointed in his last couple of games. He was going really well, and now all of a sudden you see, minutes not nearly as good, his performance not as good as expected, a couple of games where he's not even getting above 6 points, and that's just not something you need. At this point, you need someone who's going to be consistent for you. You need someone who you can count on to get points every game. Someone like Gordon Hayward, like I said. Someone like Wilson Chandler, Isaiah Thomas, players who are being consistent. Ramon Sessions right now being very consistent. Consistency wins championships, and in playoff games, you're not going to need to get, say, a 50-point night out of somebody every single night. Will it be nice? Obviously, but it's not something that is going to be the make or break.
Christian, just so you know, I dropped Isaiah Thomas, so if you're still interested,
okay, all right.
He's there.
Thank you.
Actually, the one question I was going to ask is, I have two young point guards, one being Kyrie Irving, one being Isaiah Thomas, and I kind of wanted somebody a little bit more used to the NBA season, because you can see rookies this time of year where they start to fall off. And my question was answered because I forgot Ramon Sessions was around, so I picked him up. So that's answered. But back to my point was, when you're relying so heavily on rookies at this time of year, is it maybe smart to try to look to more veteran players who have been through an NBA season? Because, even if you look at the Cavs, just them in a microcosm, they've lost 7 of 8, and they're not getting the numbers they were out of their young guys maybe even a month ago. Well, because they're tired? Is this something you should be aware of?
It's something definitely to keep an eye on, but you also got to look in the opposite direction too. You look at someone like Tim Duncan, who's sat out in the last couple of games with the reason as old. That's how it's written right there on his on the score sheet, is that he's been sitting out of the game because he's quote old. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. Some of these veteran players, yes, are more used to coming down the stretch through a long season, but in the same regard, if they've got their playoffs in good shape and they need a couple days off, they'll be more likely to get it. And especially when we have a condensed season, honestly, the younger, more fresh legs would be a better route to go there as well. But you got to just keep an eye on your lineup right up until game time, especially with all these day-to-day injuries that you don't know what to expect until the last minute, literally a few minutes before game time. There's really no set rule, because I agree with you. There are a lot of these young guys who you see down the stretch every year, whether it's that defenses start figuring them out, whether it's they get tired, whatever the reason is, that you just have trouble trusting them. Does that mean you immediately bench them? No, but I go with the trends. If I start seeing a specific player slide, then especially come playoff time, you can't afford it. Get rid of them before it happens.
Sounds good.
Well, also, before we let you go, I know the baseball season, believe it or not,
started today.
It started half a world away, but I know it doesn't really affect a lot of. No, people still haven't really done their draft yet. It doesn't really affect the draft, does it?
No, it really doesn't. I was looking at the box score because sadly I wasn't awake to watch that game or whatnot.
You were up at like 5 a.m.
Well, technically I was. I was already on my way to work, but that's another story. No,
I hear that one.
What was that?
Kidding. Never mind.
Yeah, sorry, a little early, I know. Really, looking at the box score especially, there's not much you can take out of that game. The only thing, Seattle's second baseman, Dustin Ackley, he's currently listed as around maybe 12th, 14th best second baseman on the board. He had 2 RBIs. He had a 2-for-5 day. Not too bad, especially for a second baseman batting in the 2-hole. If you haven't drafted yet, you might push him up a couple spots. And normally I'd say draft a top second baseman very early if you can, as in if he's available in the first round, say a Robinson Cano, Dustin Pedroia, you want to grab him immediately. But there are a lot more good second basemen out there this year, and Dustin Ackley's performance today, honestly, that kind of solidifies my idea of you don't need to rush to get that top second baseman. Take your time if you don't get a Cano, if you don't get a Pedroia. There's still some good second-tier guys like Ugla and Ian Kinsler and even Chase Utley.
Let's do some rapid fire. You have the number 1 pick in your fantasy draft. Who do you pick? Go.
the number one pick, I take Miguel Cabrera. It's tough. 1-2, Cabrera, Pujols. Either way, it's fine. I trust Cabrera with Prince there with him.
Sleeper of the year, go.
Sleeper of the year, wow. I'm gonna say McCutchen. I don't know why. I just have a feeling that he's gonna have a top year out there in Pittsburgh. Got a new contract. He's ready to stay. I'm gut feeling him. Keep an eye on Josh Hamilton coming back from a down year as well.
And finally, Fool's Gold of the year, go.
Fool's Gold of the year. I'm gonna say Alex Rodriguez.
A-Rod.
Again, he's coming down to the stretch where, at this point in his career, is where you'll start seeing a guy drop off. But one of the other things you've been seeing recently is a big-name player. The last couple of years, every year, it seems a couple big names come after a slump year and come right back up. That's why I like someone like Josh Hamilton, and that's why if that does happen to someone like A-Rod, don't be surprised if he jumps right back the following year.
All right, we'll plug the website real quick for us.
Absolutely. We are 360sportsnetwork.com, where we do everything and everything in the world of sports, especially with fantasy basketball, fantasy baseball, even some fantasy auto racing for you, Formula One, IndyCar, whatever you need. We want to help out in any league, any way we can. So you can follow us on Twitter at 3S Network, send us an email, or just drop by the website. You can get to us through the WBBW website or at 360sportsnetwork.com. Let us know what you need. We're there to help.
All right, thank you. Appreciate the call. We'll talk to you next week at this time, buddy.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Take it easy.
All right, there you go. 360 Sports Network.